here we are up in my office, and we're going to start with lesson 1 for the perfect virtual presentation or even a virtual call setup, because so many people get this wrong. So a couple of things to cover. Number 1, I want you to look at what I call headroom. Okay, so headroom is how much space there is between your head, this bald one here, and the top of the screen or the top of the shot. Should be about this much. Okay, that's about right. You don't want to have it where you're too high, the top of your head's missing, looks weird, and you certainly don't want to be too low. You look like a little child just wanting to be part of the conversation. Please look at me. Instead, there's your perfect headroom, so set that up. Now, you can't do that unless, and this is kind of important, your camera, in other words, the webcam on your laptop or on your desktop, or indeed, if you're using an external camera or another type of webcam, you can't do any of that unless it's level with your eyes. And far too many people in the online virtual presentation world are looking down at their computers. Let me demo it for you. I'll turn over here. I've got my laptop. All right, here it is. You can see. And then I've actually got it with the camera on right now. So it's not ideal, but you can see that what I'm trying to say. This is the perfect position because the camera is directly in line with my eyes, okay? But look, here's the bottom of the laptop and here's my desk. This is quite a considerable height. It's probably forgiving if I go even down to here, but still we've got to support the laptop or whatever computer you're using with something. So my top suggestion is just fill this space with books. Big books will help you fill that space and raise your camera up to the right level. Because unless you're at the right, I'm wiggling myself around, unless you're at the right level, you're either going to be looking down on people, like lording it over them because you're up here and the camera's down there, or something equally weird, like looking up. So, camera level. That's advice piece number 1. All right, number 2, let's talk about lighting. Lighting is kind of important, and you don't need much to get it right. The first consideration is never present to a camera, even a laptop, with a window behind you. The minute there's a light source behind you, you become backlit, and it just doesn't look good. Instead, find some local lamps or lighting sources and put them behind your laptop. In other words, behind your camera. Now, I cheat a bit because obviously I do this for a living. I've got quite the lighting set up here. I'm gonna get my iPhone. I'm gonna click record. Okay, so there you go. See, look, I've got one light there. There's you. I've got another light there and another light there. That's what they call 3-point lighting. 3-point lighting is not essential, but you kind of want to have one light off to one side, one light to another, and if you've got a third, great. If not, no worries. What you want to avoid is getting some desk lamp and just shining it in your face like you are a hostage or it's an interrogation of some sort. So lighting is important. You've got to get that right. You're probably wondering why. I mean, why is lighting so important? Well, look, here's the thing. Every single person who might choose to watch you and listen to you has to look at whatever image you present to them. If it's difficult to look at, it's backlit, or it's weird, or it's angled, or you're too high, or you're too low, guess what they do? They just click away. And so we reach audio. My sound is pretty good. There's a couple of things to consider. Number 1, it's the microphone you're using. And number 2, it's the room you're in. Many of us have very echoey rooms and echoey houses. I have, full transparency, I have put up some sound absorbing tiles on the wall over there and just above me as well. These things are made of sponge. And again, it's only because I do this for a living. Otherwise, I wouldn't bother. But you want to find a room in your house that is not too echoey. The more echoey your voice, the more difficult it is to listen to, the less your message will be heard. And on that note, if you've got an old laptop or an old computer and the mic's a bit dodgy, maybe think about investing in a new external microphone just to elevate the audio. Think of it this way. Sometimes people will be getting on with something but listening to everything you say, but never will they watch you with the audio off. That just makes no sense. So audio is very important. All right, here's a top professional tip. If you're recording a presentation or you're recording a message, what you want to do, especially if you're sending that video to someone else, which can happen sometimes, is hold the look. Here, I'll show you. At the end of your presentation and you've finished, you might say something like, so thank you very much for your time and I look forward to speaking to you soon. That weirdness just then is called holding the look, because very often, especially if you're part of an event, they'll take your video and they'll edit it to the next bit of video, and they'll put a transition on, which would be like maybe a turning screen or a wipe or a dissolve, and so they want a bit more. So if you make the mistake of saying, thank you very much, I look forward to speaking to you soon, then you look away and you get your drink, they can't do that. They can't do the edit. So hold the look at the start before you begin, hold the look at the end just when you've finished, if you are pre-recording and sending the video to someone else. All right, one more point. Being online, being virtual is less about theatre and is more about cinema. What do I mean by that? Well, when you make a presentation on stage or in a boardroom or in front of your valuable clients, very often you'll be quite, big with your gestures, and you might walk around, you might stand next to a slide deck. All that helps the delivery of a professional presenter. But this is different. This is more like cinema, more like TV, where people are looking at your face, your expressions. They're trying to understand you as a person. It's much less about all of the movement and all of the drama, and much more about your connection with the lens. So you have to turn the switch to go from theatre to cinema to take advantage of the opportunity of the virtual presentation world.